Hi, my name is Cynthia Kitolo. I'm an advocate of the High Court and the legal officer at Property Boutique Limited.
Hi, my name is Wendy Ngunga and I'm sales manager at Property Boutique Limited. So one of the biggest challenges that buyers are facing in the Kenyan property market today is due diligence on the property they're buying.
Yes.
So what steps and what is due diligence?
So due diligence involves an investigation of title. This is where, as a buyer, you confirm and verify the details of ownership of the property, and also you go ahead and confirm the details of the seller. So the law actually places a responsibility on the buyer to perform proper due diligence before they buy a property.
Okay, so what steps can a buyer take in the market today to perform due diligence on the property they're buying?
Okay, we'll try and simplify this, and I'll give 6 steps. So the first step is identifying the details pertaining to the seller.
Okay, and this is a person?
Yes.
Okay.
So a seller can be a person, they can be a company or a circle.
Okay.
So if it's a person, then you need to request for the original or a certified copy of their ID and their PIN certificate. You can still verify their details through the National Bureau of Registration of Persons.
Okay.
Yes.
And in terms of a company, what due diligence do I do there?
So for a company, you need to request for a certificate of incorporation and a document we call a CR12. From the CR12, you'll see the list of the shareholders and the directors of that company.
Ah, okay. And a SACCO?
A SACCO, you need to request for a certificate of registration. And you can verify the details pertaining the SACCO through a body we call SASRA.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is the next step I would take as a buyer?
The next step after confirming the details of the seller is going on site, performing a physical site visit on the property.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what would that entail, or what should I look out for as a buyer when I actually go see the land?
So some of the things you need to look out for is, for example, can you spot graves? I know that's a bit awkward, but if you spot graves, then that means there's a possibility that you're dealing with ancestral land, and that is a direct red flag. Other things you can look out for is, can you see any kind of grazing of animals or any existing structures on the land? Then that will mean there's a possibility of squatters on that land.
Okay.
Other things you can look out for is, can you see some signs of flooding, or what is the soil type?
Okay.
Because that will go to advise you if you're going to construct or do agriculture on that piece of property.
So does this mean that I need to contract a registered surveyor?
Yes, that's a very important step, because a surveyor will aid you in getting the actual dimensions of the land.
Okay.
They'll also help you in requesting for a survey map, and that's actually the third step.
Okay.
So with a survey map, what a survey map basically does, it positions the land with adjoining parcels of land and things like access roads.
Okay.
From a survey map, you'll actually be advised as a buyer whether you need to do further searches. For example, if you see your property where your land is positioned, you can see maybe some water body. That means there's a risk that it might be near water reserve or riparian land.
Which is why many boundaries are usually taken down for riparian land.
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing, maybe you see a road.
Okay.
If it's a large road, that means it might be a national road.
Okay.
That means you do a search at Kenha. If it's a small road, then you do a search at Kura. Because you don't want a situation where you're buying a piece of property, but then there's an access road, which is now a national road. Because at the end of the day, you'll be buying less.
Okay, yes. Because it will be also public land at the same time you're buying.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is the next step that you would take after doing the searches?
So the next step will actually be procuring a certificate of search, or what you call an official search. And I know that is the first step people run to.
Yeah.
But what I can say on official search is that an official search can easily be forged or manipulated.
Really?
Yes. So what we advise is for you to procure something we call a certified green card.
Okay.
Because a certified green card will give you an historical search over the parcel of land. It will actually show you how this land has changed hands over the years.
Okay.
It is actually the best way to prove or rather to see if there has been existing disputes over the land or any in terms of litigation, that is, or succession matters.
So this is inheritance issues, etc. You'll be able to see this in the green card.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Well, yes, the second last step is performing a search at the county land registry.
Okay.
This is very important.
Yes.
Because it will actually show you whether the seller has been paying land rates and land rent. So let me try and break it down and make it a bit simple.
And there's land rate and land rent. Yes. Okay.
So if your parcel or that land you've identified is located in a municipality, then that means you'll have to pay land rates to the county government. If it is a leasehold, then you pay land rents.
Okay.
Land rents.
Land rents.
Yes. And the best way to confirm if a seller has been paying land rates and land rents is asking them to produce to you a land rates clearance certificate and a land rent clearance certificate.
And this is done during the sale process or before the sale process?
Before and even after.
Okay.
So before you can actually just request the seller.
Okay.
Because that is the only way you can prove that they've actually been paying rates and rent over that property.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is the last step I need to take as a buyer?
So the last step is performing a search on Dungu report. I know the searches are many, but they're important.
The fourth search.
Yes. So Dungu report was a report that was formulated post-independence.
Okay.
So there were issues on people being illegally allocated public land.
Okay.
So there was need of that.
Okay.
So that's why it's important, because you don't want to buy land that has already been illegally allocated as public land.
Okay, so this will highlight any public land that was taken during that period.
Yes, and something else to add on that. Since then, the National Land Commission has taken up that mantle. Okay. So they regularly post different parcels in the Kenya Gazette and the newspapers that have disputes.
So the Ndungu report is actually updated?
Yes, it's not really the Ndungu report because now that was just one report.
Okay.
So after that, the National Land Commission, that is now the commission that deals with land, has taken up that mantle of regularly posting in the Kenya Gazette any parcels that have issues in terms of title disputes. Okay. So it's very important before you actually buy this piece of property to perform a search in the Ndungu report and these Kenya Gazette notices that are posted by the National Land Commission.
And I can ask my advocate to do this for me?
Yes. Actually, the thing I needed to point out, the Ndungu report and even the Kenya Gazette notices published by the NLC are really huge. Okay. You need someone who is trained to actually break it down for you because it's a lot of work. Okay. Yes.
So if I take all these 6 steps, I am guaranteed to buy clean and peaceful property.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. From James Madison, and he says, if men are angels, then no government will be necessary.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, and I hear you, which is why we need to perform this due diligence, and I think it's a very important step because of all the land disputes we're seeing at the Ministry of Land today.
Yes.
And we hope that this is a step that you'll take as a buyer to ensure that your experience in terms of land ownership is a beautiful one. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Cynthia, for all this information.
Yes, it's been a pleasure.
And I can't wait for the next podcast. Thank you.
Bye.